This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Hey everybody, it is the After Party live on a Trivia Thursday. Thank you so much for being here. Music feels a little bit loud in my headphones, so I'll turn it down just a touch. Thank you for your patience as well. I do want to say that Wes jumped in with a $5 PayPal contribution to the show right off the bat. Really appreciate it. October 17th from Wes, $5. October 16th from Wes as well. So every day, Wes jumping in with a contribution to this show to help keep it rolling. Huge, huge thank you. And thank you to everyone who contributes monthly via PayPal as well. The PayPal information, if you're so inclined, is in the chat. It's in the show description. I'm in the chat. It's in the show description and in the About tab here on YouTube. Lee throwing down a $20 super chat. Thank you, Kim, for yesterday's mention of the Jim Stevens and Friends appearance at Half Moon Bay Art and Pumpkin Festival this weekend. Eileen and I enjoyed the change of pace the After Party Live offers. Well, I enjoy you guys as well. And this brings me to a wonderful opportunity to let you know that Lee and his band, it is indeed the Jim Stevens and Friends, will be at the Half Moon Bay Pumpkin Festival this weekend, 9 to 10:30 a.m. on the main stage. And I don't think I have it prepared, but yesterday, Lee sent me some of the music that they play. They have this song called Half Moon Bay that is original and was written, I believe, by Jim Stevens. And it is not copyrighted. So I think that I am able to play you a bit of this music. I have it for you. I'm kind of excited to play it. And here, if I can share the screen. I know I wasn't planning on doing it at the beginning, but here is a little bit of Jim Stevens and Friends. So even if you're not able to get out to the Half Moon Bay Pumpkin Festival, you can have a little bit of music.
Driving over the hill on a cool autumn day, where the fog hugs the treetops with a soft ocean spray. Colors here are familiar, green, orange, and brown. Have you guessed where I'm headed? Does the place I've described sound like Half Moon Bay? This town is wedged in between mountain and sea. Half Moon Bay. Take a walk down Main Street with me. Now it's festival time, and the townsfolk prepare to welcome friends back to the greatest of fairs. We'll all watch their faces as everyone stares at the year's biggest pumpkin, and our winners declare here in Half Moon Bay. This town is wedged in between mountain and sea. Half Moon Bay. Take a walk down Main Street with me. Driving over the hill on a cool autumn day, where the fog hugs the treetops with a soft ocean spray. Colors here are familiar, green, orange, and brown. Have you guessed where I'm headed? Does the place I describe sound like Half Moon Bay? This town is wedged in between mountain and sea. Half Moon Bay. Take a walk down Main Street with me, wedged in between mountain and sea. Half Moon Bay, you're a great place to be. Jim Stevens, thank you.
Okay, I didn't mean to show all of it, but I was into it. I love it. So again, thank you for the super chat, Lee. The band, Jim Stevens and friends, showing up at the Half Moon Bay Art and Pumpkin Festival this weekend, 9 a.m. to 10:30 on the main stage. If you weren't going to head down there and you saw that video, it kind of makes you want to go. So if you do go, please say hello to Lee, watch the band, and hang out. And thank you so much for that. I love this song. You guys are really good. That's really exciting to me. Wonderful. Um, oh, I know what else I wanted to do before we get going. And I don't know if I have my balloons downloaded, but I do want to say, Ricky O'Bear, happy birthday to you. We celebrate you. You are so amazing and one of the most kind people. All of your comments, emails, every correspondence that you've ever had with this show, Mark Thompson Show, has just been of the most extreme kindness. And I'm so grateful to get to know you and to have you be a member of this community, the Mark Thompson Show community, and Nikki Maduro's show community as well. So huge happy birthday to Ricky O'Bear. We celebrate you today. Let's get into some of these stories, why don't we? And oh, by the way, if you guys have anything you want to promote on the show, whether it's a band appearance or a business or anything else, please email me. You can always find me, kim@theafterparty.live. And yeah, here's my email addresses. So email me and let me know ahead of time and I'll try to get it together if I can get it together and get you a little publicity. Might as well just a little mini acknowledgement on a little show like this. Doesn't hurt, right? Okay, I miss living near Half Moon Bay, says John Watson. Heather says, yeah, I miss living there sometimes. It's a beautiful place to go. That we have it so close to us. We're very fortunate. Murphy says, how pretty, perfect for the festival. Oh, your dad lived in Half Moon Bay for a long time. That's wonderful. Wonderful. There's Ricky O'Bear. He's in the show. Rev says, I'm only 20 minutes away from Half Moon Bay. We'll go out and check out the band this weekend. Yeah. And Kay in Santa Rosa, I'm glad you're on the mend. I hope you're feeling better. Okay, into the stories we go. Otherwise, we're not going to have time for trivia. So let's jump right in. First of all, I wanted to show you this picture. I've kind of been waiting for this. And I'm so excited to tell you that I just booked Professor Andrew Fracknoy for Mark Thompson's show next week. And one of the things he'll be talking about is this comet that you're seeing pictures of all over the place. And one of the pictures I was waiting to see if someone was able to capture this shot, and they were the comet over the Golden Gate Bridge. It's beautiful. This one was the comet traveling across the evening sky over the Golden Gate Bridge South Tower. And the picture was taken from Treasure Island on Monday by Craig Lee with the San Francisco Examiner. So that is where this photo comes from. Craig Lee with the San Francisco Examiner caught this gorgeous shot. Could not wait to show that one to you. Animal update. Remember this little guy? We saw him yesterday. They didn't know where he came from, but he was on the loose in a suburb of Chicago. And it turns out he's now been captured in this Chicago suburb. This cat was seen wandering loose in the neighborhood. It was finally captured by animal control officers. This carousel, a wild cat species native to Africa and parts of Asia, was found hiding under someone's deck and loaded into a big cage that animal control officers brought out. Apparently he didn't like being in that cage too much. And so he went a little crazy in the cage. They made sure that he wasn't injured. They tranquilized him, and he was in the cage for maybe 8 minutes, they say. And now they've taken him to a sanctuary, a permanent home at the Valley of the Kings Sanctuary in Sharon, Wisconsin, because they didn't know where this exotic cat came from. There's no zoo around here that this animal escaped from. It was wandering around a residential neighborhood, leading them to believe that maybe this animal was kept as someone's pet. So, the animal's thought to have been hungry and tired, And so now it gets a rest and some food at this sanctuary. So a good ending for this creature, this carousel. Still don't know how to say that. Another interesting case of an Arctic fox found in all places, Portland, Oregon. This guy doesn't belong here. The origins of this creature in Oregon are unclear as well. This small white animal was spotted earlier this month in Portland. It was captured and positively identified as an Arctic fox. That was brought to the Bird Alliance of Oregon. They have a wildlife care center there. They have no idea how this Arctic fox ended up in Portland, Oregon. They say that these creatures don't naturally occur in Oregon. So this species is considered an exotic animal in this area. Its native habitat is far north places, Greenland, northern Russia, Canada, Alaska. They say the behavior this Arctic fox is exhibiting is consistent with a life in captivity. The fox does not show species appropriate fear, response to people. It was approaching humans when rescued. So they think that this fox either accidentally escaped from captivity or was intentionally dumped by the people who illegally held her. The animal is said to be healthy, aside from being a little thin. They're keeping her fed, hydrated, and providing enrichment while the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife determines next steps. What in the world are people doing keeping these animals in places they don't belong? What do you just have a cage of exotic animals in your house? Leave these animals where they go. Come on. It gets me so frustrated. Poor little guy. This Arctic fox, they'll figure out where he goes or she goes and they'll do something. Here's a story that's fascinating to me. There is old fossils of a blue whale, and they kind of dust it off, clean it off every once in a while, and they've discovered that 26 years after it died, 26 years later, the skeleton is still leaking oil. It's on display at the New Bedford Whaling Museum. They've named the skeleton Kobo. And this is in eastern Massachusetts. And they say you might want to be a little careful about standing underneath Kobo. Kobo is a 66-foot long blue whale skeleton, and the bones are still leaking oil, even though it's been more than 20 years since this whale died. The museum has had this on display since the year 2000, and it's still leaking because the blue whale's bone marrow is full of oil and much more oily than a human bone. The marrow is oily, the oil a source of energy for these animals, especially the baleen whales, who typically have a period of the year where they don't feed. There's energy stored in the muscles and the blubber, but there's energy stored in the bones as well. It's a reserve energy source for them. Normally, they say the whale skeletons are depleted of this oil through a natural process when they're buried on the seafloor, picked apart by barnacles and other animals. But this one was found on the bow of a ship because giant tankers, even though these are massive animals, hit them all the time, ship strikes. This one was probably 5 years old, about 80,000 pounds, accidentally killed by a 486-foot long freighter that was headed from Belgium to Providence, Rhode Island in 1998. They towed the carcass ashore. The scientists took a look, dissected it for research, and they didn't spend time working on getting the oil out of the bones by leaving them out in the sun or treating them. So the museum had to install a special oil catcher to see how much oil they could capture. It's near the whale's beak, snout, and vertebra. It drips oil into the flask every day, and the museum has 1,000 milliliters in a jar in storage and another 200 milliliters in the catcher. They said they missed a good 10 years of oil dripping, and it was certainly a lot wetter and messier those first 10 years. Some reporters were there. They say they got oil dripped on them over the years when visiting this museum. They felt something on the back of their neck, a brownish tint that ended up staining their shirt. The oil from skeletons like this was not used to illuminate lamps of the world during the days of whaling. Eventually, it was figured out that you could use this whale oil for that type of thing. It was also used in explosives. So, glycerol in soap as well. So, but yeah, still dripping after all this time. All this time. Isn't that weird? I have video to show you, more video. This is one of these incidents that are seasonal, like a Christmas tree in the middle of the roadway. This one involves an officer kind of getting attacked by a big old Halloween blow up display that blew off into the roadway. Oops, there it is. So this officer is called out. You see all this cars pulled over, responding to this debris in the roadway. It's this massive pumpkin. Look at that. Kind of blowing around in the winds there in the storm. Police are saying, listen, it's really important when you're getting a storm like this to secure your decorations or to deflate things before the wind kicks up. And here's where he gets attacked by it. Whoa, wait a minute. Yeah. All captured on dash cam. He finally emerges from beneath this massive inflatable pumpkin, and he looks over at the dash cam like he's embarrassed, like he knows that he's going to get made fun of for this. This happened in the Bay Village. This is the Bay Village Police Department. They were dispatched for a runaway pumpkin. They say nobody was hurt. The officer's totally fine. Backup police were called, and the pumpkin was returned to the homeowner. But yeah, you've got to deflate. You must deflate. So there he is. You can see the embarrassed look on his face. He's looking over at the dash cam like, really? You guys caught that on video? Come on. Come on. Oh, happy Halloween to you. So funny. I thought that was interesting. Take a while to deflate this thing and get it out of the roadway as well. Here comes the backup officer for help. Oh, I mean, at least if you're stopped on the side of the road, it's for an interesting reason. Something interesting to watch. Yeah, they got to get it off the road. They got to give it back to the homeowner. All right. That's enough of that. But I thought that was kind of funny. Let's talk about this story about AI and AI being used when it comes to our health. We know that doctors now are using AI, that in some cases, it actually does a better job at seeing things on x-rays, seeing certain bits of your medical record when correlating everything together that maybe doctors could miss. But there's a survey that was done that shows that most older Americans don't trust AI generated health information. They did a survey from the University of Michigan, kind of a poll, and they found most Americans aged 50 and older don't place that much trust in AI medicine. 74% of middle-aged and or senior Americans would have very little to no trust in health information generated by AI. They also say, these older folks, they have a lot of confidence in their ability to suss out bad info about health matters. 20% said they had little to no confidence that they could spot misinformation about a health topic if they came across it. Among all older adults who scanned the web recently for health information, only 32% said it's very easy to find accurate advice. They say that this highlights the lack of trust and the key role that healthcare providers and pharmacists play as trusted health messengers for older adults. The role that friends or family with medical backgrounds can play is pretty important as well. They found that websites run by health organizations are seen by most who use them as very trustworthy, which should suggest a need to encourage more people to actually use the legitimate website. If you go to UCSF, you're going to believe what you see there. I am. If you go to Stanford Health, is it legit? If you go to the Mayo Clinic website, these are seen as trusted resources. Most of the people polled, 84%, said they had received health information directly from a healthcare provider, pharmacist, friend, or family member in the last year. More than 70% rated their health care professionals as very trustworthy. 62% said the same about friends and family members. 58% said they'd used a website for health information. 36% of those who'd used a .com site felt its information was untrustworthy, compared with 59% who used a healthcare system site. And here's something fascinating to me. Far fewer visited health sites run by the federal government, 21%. Nonprofits like the American Heart Association, 14%, or universities or medical schools, 11%. 60% of those went to those sites and they felt that their info was very trustworthy. The problem is they just don't go to them. And we know that older adults are increasingly turning to the internet for health information, but there's a big trust gap, especially with AI-generated content. So, the poll underscores the urgent need for reliable, accessible health resources. I think we have a lot of health resources. It's just a matter of pointing people to the right ones and making sure that people know where the information is coming from. Almost every major university has a reputable website with studies and information. So, I don't know. This is a story about the sense of smell. And it turns out that our sense of smell might be a little quicker than we had thought. I don't know about you. Some people don't have a good sense of smell. I cannot hear very well at all because of years of wearing headphones. So that sense for me is bad. There are sounds I can't hear, higher pitched frequencies I cannot hear. My family will say, "Did you not hear the fire alarm?" No, I did not hear the fire alarm. It's just too high. I can't hear it. That pitch, I can't hear. I've ruined my hearing. But I have a great sense of smell. I can smell things before the rest of my family. So I know if there's some type of dead creature, something rotten in the fridge, like it's immediate for me. It turns out that a new study discounts the notion that the sense of smell is a slower sense than sight or hearing. People sense millisecond shifts in odor as quickly as they might spot a change in color. Isn't that interesting? The study done for the Institute of Psychology at the Chinese Academy of Sciences. They say a sniff of odors is not a long exposure shot of the chemical environment that averages out over time. Instead, smell can spot fluctuations in odors with a sensitivity on par with that for color perception and vision. They published this study on Monday in the journal Nature Human Behavior. And while it's true that for humans, our smell is nowhere near as good as that of so many animals like dogs, whatever, but it's also not as slow as we may have thought. So they did some experiments and they used this special sniff triggered device that organized the emissions of odors within a precision of 18 milliseconds. They had it produce two odors, one right after the other, separated by milliseconds, switching which odor came first. And then they brought in 229 people to sniff the odors to see if they could sense any differences. And here's what they found. Participants could tell the difference when the delay between the compound was just 60 milliseconds, a third of the time it takes to blink. That's how fast we can notice a change in smell. That is roughly equal to the time it takes the human visual sense to distinguish the order of green and red lights blinking. Yeah. See, our smellers, we were working pretty fast. Yes, I love it. It's a lot like how we hear music as well. So there was another study done kind of in an accompanying journal. This professor of neuroscience and physiology at NYU said it's kind of like how people listen to music. The timing of individual notes in music is essential for conveying meaning and beauty in a melody, and the human ear is really sensitive to this. But temporal sensitivity isn't limited to hearing. Our sense of smell can also perceive small temporal changes in odor presentations, very similarly to how timing affects the perception of notes in a melody. The timing of individual components in a complex odor mixture that reaches the nose may be crucial for our perception of the olfactory world. They say, listen, it's time that scientists take the human sense of smell a little more seriously. The study of our sense of smell has really lagged behind that of vision and hearing because we think of ourselves as visual creatures. We largely use speech to communicate, so hearing for us is really important. But this sense of smell, they think, could be used for therapeutic purposes. There could be training for patients with olfactory loss. I guess when you're looking at the sense of smell, why it matters if you can smell things, you can smell dangerous gas, you can smell something burning. But why do we have this sense of smell? Yeah, interesting field of study, and nice to know that our smellers are quick on the uptake. Should we do a lotto of the day? Let's do it. Here it is, lotto of the day. I need a little music for the lotto of the day. I need to talk to Lee about that. Um, this is a story about maybe getting called into work not being such a bad thing after all. This man in Missouri said he got called into work on his day off. Duh, hate when that happens. But he ended up being really lucky because he scored a $1 million lottery prize. The man said he headed to work, but he needed gas on his day off. Wasn't planning on having to go into work that day. So he stopped on the way to work at this store called Casey's, this gas station. They called me and he said because they needed some help. And so I had to put gas in the car. So I picked up one of those tickets. He bought a 500X ticket, scratched it off at his desk later in the day. $1 million prize. He ended up calling his wife to come in and verify what he was seeing was actually true. And this is a common thing where you win and you don't believe it. You've got to have other people double check you. Once I saw, he said, I was like, wait a minute. The player said he was totally shocked, couldn't believe it. And even until he got to the lottery office, he said he wasn't sure if it was real. We don't know what he's going to do with his extra million, but not bad for an extra day's work, right? Not so bad at all. They're looking for some coders. There's so much data that came in during that solar eclipse recently that NASA is now launching a coding competition to organize all of these images of the solar eclipse that happened in April. They're doing something called the Eclipse Mega Movie Project. They had 145 citizen scientists contribute more than 1 terabyte of photographs being that were collected, and they're now being analyzed. They say these images will help them track disappearing jets and plumes, shedding light on how solar events impact space weather and our understanding of the sun's outer atmosphere as well. So they had asked volunteers to take pictures of the total solar eclipse in April to discover all of this stuff. And now they have to organize all the pictures that they got. So they're holding a coding competition, challenging applicants to develop a sorting machine for each solar eclipse photo into specific solar eclipse phase categories. The coding challenge is open until November 18th, and the submissions will be evaluated based on their categorization accuracy. Information and competition rules can be found at the Eclipse Mega Movie Project website. I'll put the link to the story in the chat so that if you are a coder, because I know some of our partiers work in the tech industry, and you feel like this is something you or someone you know could take on, the link to the competition is in that story that I just posted. So there you go. All right. 1 in a million is a good to start a retirement fund in California. Yeah, that guy was in a different state. So there you go. 1 million could buy a nice house outside the Bay Area. Sure could. Gordon says little sunspots would make the eclipse even more spectacular. Anyway, so yeah, NASA doing this coding challenge, which could be, a nice thing to put on the resume if you won something like that, I think. Should we do some trivia? What do you think? I had you know what I haven't done yet? Let me do this one story before we wrap it up. Prada in space, because I think that was my picture for the day. Prada is working with Axiom, and they have come up with this new spacesuit. It's just kind of fancy. It's this new spacesuit for NASA's Artemis 3, and it will be worn by the first astronauts to return to the surface of the moon in more than 50 years. They designed this spacesuit called the Axiom Extravehicular Mobility Unit Spacesuit. They need a sexier name for it. And it was unveiled at the International Astronautical Congress in Milan. The astronauts that will be aboard the Artemis 3 mission will be wearing this spacesuit. It's kind of cool looking. So there's the front of it. There's the back of it. I mean, does it look that much different? It's a spacesuit. I don't know what they want. One of the things I don't like about it is that the glass isn't clear and it doesn't look like you can see the person's face inside. So if they were in distress and another astronaut was looking at them, it would be a little more difficult to see what was going on inside of that helmet. The versions of the spacesuit suit have been shown previously, always with a covering dark layer intended to hide the proprietary elements of this design. But this time, they laid it all on the line, showing the white outer layer designed by Prada. It'll be worn by these astronauts on the moon. The layer reflects the heat. It will protect astronauts from the extremely high temperatures on the moon. Prada says the suit has been designed for flexibility, performance, and safety. It includes specialized tools for exploring the lunar South Pole. It's also designed with a greater range of bodies in mind than previous suits, and it will fit both male and female bodies from the 1st to the 99th percentile in sizing. Artemis 3 will see a female astronaut walk on the moon for the first time when it goes ahead, sometime after September of 2026. Another feature of this suit, onboard diagnostic system with a regenerable carbon dioxide scrubbing system, cooling technology to remove the heat from the system, advanced coatings on the helmet and the visor to enhance an astronaut's vision. It's an interesting partnership between Prada and Axiom Space. It's a fusion of fashion and engineering from the commercial sector. Prada said it contributed knowledge and expertise into areas like high performance materials and sewing techniques to this project, while making the suits more comfortable and aesthetically appealing. One of the things about this suit, you can kind of see it here on the bottom, It's got a bold red stripe that's repeated, and that's a nod to both Prada and to some other NASA spacesuits. So there you go. There's your Prada spacesuit. I'm telling you, they're getting super fancy in space. It is time for Trivia Thursday. Whoop, whoop. And I have, by request, 2 categories today. They are television, as requested by Josh, and the city of San Francisco, as requested by Cindy. And I will tell you that that is very appropriate since Mark today is in our city by the bay at the San Francisco Fall Festival. So we'll do a little of each. How about that? You guys ready? You have your fingers all ready to go? Oh, Ricky's having a surprise party. Wonderful. Happy birthday, Ricky. Thank you for being here. Just have the very best time. Heather says, now I just need my moon Louboutins. Yeah, exactly. That's funny. All right, let's take a look at trivia. The first question for you is TV related. Where did the show The Wire take place? Anybody watch The Wire? Where did the show The Wire take place? All the answers will usually pop up right at once. Yes, it's true. It took place in Baltimore. Thank you, Cranky Charcoal. Yeah, John Watson has it as well. Ref has it. Baltimore. Next one. Family Guy took place in which state? Family Guy took place in which state? You ever watch Family Guy? I never watched that show and I would not know this answer. Trevor says Massachusetts. It was not. It was not Texas. Indeed, SJ Lola, it was in Rhode Island. Cranky knows it too. It's Rhode Island. BA has it. Jim has it. Oh, nope. Jim has it. Rhode Island. There you go. Okay. Again, thanks to Cindy thanks to Josh for the TV category. The next one is this. Which American drama first reacted to 9/11? Which American drama first reacted to September 11th and the terrorist attack on America? This makes perfect sense to me. Do we know? It was The West Wing. Now, don't Google the answers, you guys. See if you can really get them. It was The West Wing, Trevor. Yeah, they were the first to react to it. John has it as well. It was The West Wing. Yep. Next one. What sports game featured the first TV advertisement? What sports game featured the first TV advertisement? Well, the first time on sports anyway. What game between which 2 teams? Does anybody know? That little chunk of sports trivia? I will say yes, baseball is a good answer. This is true. Baseball. It was between... Too tough? That was too tough one. It's between the Dodgers and the Phillies. What was the subject of the first ever advertisement on television? This surprises me. You would have thought it would have been like Brill Cream or something. The subject of the first ever advertisement on television. Anybody know? I would have thought tobacco would have been a good one. Yeah, soap would have been a good one. Cigarettes, Coke. Murphy would guess cigarettes, beer, cigarettes, soup. It was a watch. It's the truth. VA Ware gets it. The first advertisement on television was for Bulova watches. Who knew? I'm telling you. What character was the President of the United States on The West Wing? Not the actor who played it, but the character. Who was the president? Anybody remember? The name of the president in The West Wing. It was President Bartlett. Trevor has the whole name. It was Josiah Bartlett. That's right. God, that show was so good. Josiah Bartlett is correct. Okay, next one. What famous 1968 Star Trek episode included a kiss between Captain Kirk and Uhura? What famous 1968 Star Trek episode included a smooch between Captain Kirk and Uhura? Do we know the name of it? You'd have to be a pretty big Trek nerd to know the actual name of this episode. It wasn't The Trouble with Tribbles. That's about the only one I know the name to as well. It wasn't called The Kiss, although I like it. B.A. Ware says Plato's something. I will accept it as the closest that we have come. It was Plato's Stepchildren. Yes. What famous TV series featured a reference or a picture of Superman in every single episode? What famous TV series featured a reference or a picture of Superman in every single episode? I never even noticed. Trevor says it was Seinfeld, and Trevor would be correct. It was indeed Seinfeld. There was a reference to Superman or a picture of Superman in every episode. Wow. Trevor knew it. John Watson knew it. Sandy knew it. Creek Adult Softball knew it. I didn't either, Deidre. How crazy is that? Yeah. What series was the first television drama in American history? Didn't watch it. I wouldn't have known it. What series was the first television drama in American history? First television drama. If I was answering this, I would have said like the Waltons or something. I don't know. Now I have to go back and rewatch them, says Ren. At least watch one. Watch for the Superman. Deidre with a good answer. She says MASH. That is not the right answer. Bonanza, another good answer. See, this tells me you guys aren't cheating and looking it up because these are really, really thoughtful answers. They are not correct, but a lot of people saying soap operas. None of the soap operas. Bedtime for Bonzo. All My Children. Wagon Train. Okay, the answer to this question was a show called The Queen's Messenger. Did anybody ever watch that? Yeah, I never did. I don't know. What is the name of the monkey who belongs to Marcel in Friends? What is the name of the monkey who belongs to Marcel on the show Friends? I never have either, you guys. I didn't know. Yeah. I loved your answers, though. They were the better ones. No, I guess Marcel also had a monkey. You think Marcel is the monkey, but the monkey also had a monkey. This is the way the show worked. The name of the monkey belonged to Ross. It would bite you, yes. The name of the monkey who belonged to Marcel was Katie. Apparently, Marcel had a monkey named Katie. What was the last name of the leading family characters in The Cosby Show? Kind of a weird name. You guys will probably remember it. Don't get that monkey off of my back. The last name of the family in The Cosby Show. Yeah, it was Huxtable. Huxtable, says John and Trevor and Ren and Sandy and Jim and almost everyone. Huxtable is right. At least we got one of them, right? What color costume did Jeannie's sister wear on I Dream of Jeannie? What color costume did Jeannie's sister wear in I Dream of Jeannie? Remember that show? Green is correct. Green, says Deidre. She wore green. The sister wore green. Well done. Chris also has it. It is green. Nice. Couple more of these and we'll switch topics. Which actor starred in Lizzie McGuire? Which actor or actress was it that starred in Lizzie McGuire? It was gray in my house because we had a black and white TV. That's funny. Uh, Lizzie McGuire. Who was Lizzie McGuire? Yep, it was Duff. It was Hilary Duff was the name of the actress. Nancy had it as well as B.A. Ware. You never heard of Lizzie McGuire? Oh. Jack Bauer killed how many people in 192 hours? That would have been the show 24, right? Jack Bauer killed how many people in 192 hours? Dude, that's a lot of people. Let's see if you guys know it. 1,000, 11,780. No. 75. The answer is 250. Okay, I'll do one more. What Sex and the City character has bright red hair? What Sex and the City character has bright red hair? A redhead. Which character is that? Yes, it is. It is Miranda. Deidre has it first, followed by Sandy. There you go. And that is our TV trivia for today. And now we move to San Francisco trivia. And I'll tell you where these questions came from afterwards, so you can't look it up. Well, you probably could look it up anyway. In 1890, 2 bison were brought to Golden Gate Park to begin what has been a herd lasting more than 100 years. What were their names? The first 2 that came to Golden Gate Park. Do we remember their names? This is said to be the trivia that proves your Bay Area cred. All right? These 2 bison that were brought to San Francisco first in 1890. What were their names? Sam and Francisco. No. Ivanka and John, George and Gracie, Ben and Jerry, Chip and Dale, Fred and Mabel. No, no, and no. The names were Sarah Bernhardt for the female and Ben Harrison for the male. So there you go. Next question. In 1994, the movie Crumb was about the famed alternative comic creator Robert Crumb. But Crumb's brother, who lived in San Francisco, also had prominence in this film. Do we know his name? He lived in a Fleabag hotel in the Tenderloin when he wasn't begging for scraps on Market Street. And he was an artist, panhandler. And again, this was a series, 1994 movie rather, called Crumb. Crumb's brother. What was Crumb's brother's name? Does anybody know? Because I would never have known this. Harry Crumb. His name was Maxon Crumb. I wouldn't have known it either. What is the most expensive suite at the Fairmont Hotel on Nob Hill? The most expensive suite at the Fairmont Hotel on Nob Hill. How much does it set you back? Does anybody know? Has anyone ever looked? Anybody? It is the penthouse suite is the most expensive. And how much is it per night? Ren says it's 35 grand a night. Trevor says it's $11,780 a night. 4,000 a night, 20,000 a night. I'm going with B.A. Ware. That is the closest to the correct answer, which is $18,000 a night. Can you even imagine? President Trump has or had a 30% share of what San Francisco skyscraper? Trump had a 30% share in which San Francisco skyscraper? I don't want him owning anything in San Francisco. Get your money out my city. How about that? The Ev has that kind of money. $18,000 a night. Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk. Not the Mark. It's not the pyramid. Mm-mm. Not Salesforce Tower. It's not the tilting one. That would be the Millennium. Mm-mm. The giant butt plug. That would be Salesforce Tower, and that's no. The one with the windows falling out. The correct answer is the former Bank of America building at 555 California Street was one of Trump's major holdings. That was it. Did anyone say 555 California? It was the B of A building. Yeah. The giant giant building. Okay, next one. How are we doing on San Francisco trivia? You guys good? The first modern waterbed was designed in 1968 as part of a thesis for which San Francisco school? The first modern waterbed designed in 1968 as part of a thesis for which San Francisco school? And when you think of waterbeds, they are kind of California hippy dippy, right? Was it USF? Asked Sandy. It was not. San Francisco School of Design, a fantastic answer, yet not the answer. It wasn't Cal. It wasn't UCSF, nor the Academy of Arts. It was indeed, Jennifer, San Francisco State University. Charles Hall designed the new style of bed that became an emblem of its time, working toward his graduate degree from San Francisco State. Got it. Jennifer, be aware as well. Wes has it. University of Ruined Floors. Probably a better answer. Deidre had a waterbed in college. Fancy. You had a waterbed for 20 years? You ever have to change the water? Does it get all gross in there? Mm-hmm. Okay, next question. I kind of like San Francisco trivia. Thank you to Cindy for the suggestion. I don't want to ask that one. That's gross. This one. These days, you can buy it almost anywhere. But for many decades after their invention in 1928, they were only available at one San Francisco location. What is it? These days, you can buy this almost anywhere. But for decades after their invention in 1928, they were only available in one San Francisco location. Where was it? The It's It is what I'm looking for. The It's It. Where was it available to purchase? Where was it? You could only buy It's Its in one San Francisco location for a really long time. You guys should get this one. It wasn't Pier 39. Nope. It wasn't Macy's. It wasn't Union Square. It was indeed BA Playland at the Beach. For a long time, that's the only place you could buy them. Now you can buy them everywhere. Playland at the Beach, you get San Francisco cred. Absolutely. In July of 1978, we're going in the Wayback Machine, the Dead Kennedys played their first ever concert at which San Francisco venue? 1978, Dead Kennedys, San Francisco venue. I've never even been to this. This is a punk era. It was one of the most renowned shows in the punk era in San Francisco. This place was on Broadway. Does anybody know what it was called? You got it. It was Mabuhay Gardens. Mabuhay Gardens? Mabuhay. I don't know if I'm saying it right. That's exactly right. I'm impressed by you guys. You knew that one. I wouldn't have. Before my time. For years, San Francisco had two Bushmen scaring tourists at Fisherman's Wharf, Davy Johnson and Gregory Jacobs. But in 2014, one of them died, leaving the legendary San Francisco street business all to the other, which one remains? The legendary Bushman. Which one remains? Or I would say, as of a couple years ago, remained. Does anybody know who's still out there scaring people? One on the left. Bob Bush. All right, I'll tell you the answer. Gregory Jacobs died of a heart attack at age 60. Davy Johnson got the business, and now he's the one that scares everyone all by himself. On August 22nd, 1965, Juan Marichal and Sandy Koufax had a pitcher's duel at Candlestick Park. The matchup was quickly overshadowed by what other event happening during the Giants-Dodgers game? August 22nd, 1965, Marichal and Koufax having a pitcher's duel at Candlestick. The matchup was overshadowed by what other event that happened during that Giants and Dodgers game? This is bad. It wasn't an earthquake. It wasn't a blackout. It wasn't a streaker. But it was one of the most violent incidents in baseball history. It wasn't Robert Kennedy's shooting, but that was a good answer, though. The answer is this. In the third inning, after Marichal apparently felt Roseboro had thrown too close to his head, the Giants pitcher attacked the Dodgers catcher, cracking his skull open with a bat. They call it one of the most violent incidents in Major League Baseball history. Happened at Candlestick in San Francisco. Wow. That's some good city trivia right there. That is some really good San Francisco trivia. What is, and I don't know if we're still at this, but I will ask you this question. No, I won't ask you a question. It was about one of the hottest days on record in San Francisco. Okay, I'll ask you one more San Francisco trivia question. If you want to go to Strawberry Hill in San Francisco, over what body of water must you pass? If you want to go to Strawberry Hill in San Francisco, over what body of water must you pass? Anybody know? Yes, it's true. Jennifer's first to the punch was Stowe Lake. Blue Spark has it. It's Stowe Lake. You have to go over Stowe Lake because Strawberry Hill is right in the middle of Stowe Lake. So you have to pass over the waters of Stowe Lake in San Francisco. I thought that was a really good one. Okay. And that is Trivia Thursday with our 2 categories this week contributed by Josh and Cindy. If you have an idea for trivia that you would like to have included on the show, a category, please do email me. You can find me at kim@theafterparty.live. Send me your suggestions, whatever they may be, and I would love, love, love to have them. I'm very excited because tonight is the Nikki Maduro Show. It takes place at 5 p.m. right here on YouTube. It is so much fun. So much fun. We have the best time on this show. We have a little mocktail, a little cocktail, and we talk politics and some other fun stuff as well. And I really hope you will join us 5 p.m. here on YouTube, The Nikki Maduro Show. Again, it's this evening. So in just a few hours, I'll meet you right back here on YouTube. Set an alarm, whatever you need to do to make it to the show. It's going to be a really good one. So I'm looking forward to that with you and Nikki. It's going to be a great evening. Tomorrow on the Mark Thompson Show, still on remote from San Francisco, Friday Fabulous Florida returns. Michael Schur will be back. Michael Snyder will be back. And then right here on the After Party Live, we get to visit with Tim Sika for At the Movies. And I'm always excited to find out what he thinks of the upcoming offerings for the weekend. I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday. I really do hope that you make it to the Nikki Maduro Show at 5 p.m. I'm going to assume that you will, and I will see you soon. Huge happy birthday to Ricky O'Bear. And again, don't forget that the Jim Stevens and Friends Band is playing at the Half Moon Bay Pumpkin Festival in the morning, 9 to 10:30 a.m. this weekend. And our own Lee is a member of the band. All right. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here at 5. Bye, everyone.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.